When I started out in royalty, the biggest wins was, within my first week, I closed $7,000 worth of commissions.
What nice. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. So today I've got an awesome person to have on this today. So got Mike Goldberg here. Mike has been on the team for a little over a year and 3 months, I think he said, and he's already at manager. So my goal today is to kind of peel back his story a little bit, show you what's possible when you're joining a company at what I would consider the early years, the foundational years, how quickly you can make it into leadership and how those skills can kind of help you, across the board, not just making more money, but, learning leadership, leading leaders instead of just being a sales rep. I know some companies, it takes like 3 years to even get into what we call a trainer position, which is when you're leading sales reps. And Mike is now in a position where he's leading leaders. So that's awesome. I'm excited to talk to you, Mike. First off, how old are you, Mike?
23.
Yeah. So having that level of leadership at 23 years old, like tell me a little bit about that and we'll dive into your story in a second. So what does it feel like having sort of more pressure on your shoulders that maybe, I don't know if you've ever had a position like that before. I assume probably not at that age, but what does it feel like having that kind of pressure on? Like, how have you developed?
After I got into the role, I definitely stepped into it more. I've never had to manage this many people before in my other sales businesses. Like I came from Amazon FBA and stuff like that. That's what led me into the position I'm in now. But the feeling of leading a team is very beneficial all around. I'm learning a lot. My guys are learning a lot from the skills I have, and vice versa, going all the way down to the sales rep position.
That's awesome. So walk me through your timeline just for frame of reference here. So a year and 3 months, how long did it take you to go from sales rep to trainer where you're actually training new sales reps?
Yeah, so I started in April, May of 2024, and then about like 6, 7 months after that, I was promoted to start leading my own sales team. So that's when I got bumped up to this trainer position. And then about 6 months after that, I got bumped into the position of a manager role.
Solid, super fast trajectory. So you're going from when you were a sales rep, did you feel like you seem like you had sort of an advanced mentality, but did you feel like leadership was the direction you wanted to go? Like from day one, you're like, all right, I'm gonna go. I want to be in leadership.
Yeah, day one in the company, my main goal was just to become the best sales rep possible, get phenomenal at sales. And then a few months down the line, then it was more of the mindset shift of, hey, I want to start leading a team. So that's when I started pushing on that. And then it just fell from there.
Cool. Would you give advice like that that says, hey, if you're considering, whatever role you want to get into, if leadership is calling you, focus on being the best at sales rep first?
Yes, 100%. Because when you're brand new into a company like ours, especially, you want to focus on showing your skills and what value you can provide before you start chirping in people's ears. Or you can have the like mindset of like, hey, this is what I want, but keep it in just like a surface level area with the people you're interacting with day to day, that this is what you're looking for. And then further down the line, when you're actually proving yourself, then you can actually speak about it and bring it into fruition.
That's awesome. Man, that's good wisdom early on too. So do you feel like look, knocking doors isn't easy, right? I'm sure there was plenty of times where you're questioning the getting rejected and the person at the door is like it's easy to kind of question that, right? So did that vision never help you through it? Like or did you just focus on, hey, this resilience is going to pay off? What was your mindset in kind of those hard moments?
It was more of it's all mindset. So it was the mindset of I just want to be the best at what I'm doing currently. And that's what I focused on. That's what led me to go forward every single day, focusing on the journey and not the destination.
That's awesome. For people that are getting involved, I think before you start anything, it's really easy to see this huge big picture. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna, and that's part of the inspiration is, getting to manager and then eventually like regional and that kind of thing. Like we want people to see that vision, but also understand like, hey, there's a lot of pain in between now and then to become the person that can do that. Because why should a trainer listen to you, right? Because you've been through what they're going through, or even just a sales rep. In that case, tell me some wins when you were a sales rep. What were like good months or things that you overcame? Like, tell me, like, paint the picture of who you were as a sales rep.
When I started out in royalty, the biggest wins was, within my first week, I closed $7,000 worth of commissions.
What? Nice.
That
One
was
first week, 7 grand.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
such a good
So
start.
the mindset shift of, hey, I just have to go out there. It doesn't matter how many no's, the more no's you're going to get, the more yeses you're going to get. So that was my main focus. but it was also just leveling up in all areas of my life. So that's spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, learning the new skills, taking the constructive criticism, and then not just learning it, but then applying it on the doors and off the doors, and helping newer guys throughout my journey that joined after me on my sales team. When I say my sales team, I mean when I was still a rep. So the new guys that joined after that, the point of leadership that I can step into is helping those new guys after I was 4 or 5 months in, taking them on the doors, sitting down watching Ceros. So Ceros is just listening to the recordings, similar to watching if anyone's in sports, watching replays, seeing what you did
Game
wrong and
tape.
implementing it the next day. So that's where I was as a sales rep.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense with the right actions that made you a top performer. So when how did you feel? Where did you come from? What environment? Were you in college, or what was your environment right before you came out?
No, no. So I'll take you back to after high school. I was doing a lot of random stuff. I wanted to do work in the entertainment industry, so I did that for a while. And then that led into me doing stuff just with online money. So that's like Amazon FBA, TikTok Shop, drop shipping, YouTube automation, high ticket closing virtually. So before I came out here, the main thing I was doing was Amazon FBA, running up decent amount of revenue through my personal store. It wasn't anything like too crazy, but I then went to different networking events where I then met a few other people who are now currently in Royalty Renewables. One of them being Holden, who is now our regional manager, and his trajectory is also insane too in the company. So that business ended up failing because I had some issues with Bezos. And it led me into having $18,000 worth of debt that kind of just pushed me forward in learning how to manage money properly and having to pay that debt off quick, because having those failures is, I think, personally crucial into running a profitable business, whether it's your own or for another company.
Yeah, that's a hell of a motivation to show up at the door thinking I need to make money. Like
Yeah.
not just like it's fun to make money, but like I need to.
Oh, I have to. Yeah.
Yeah, like you have scars that you learn from. That's awesome, man. So when you came into the environment, I want people to understand the contrast of maybe some of the chaos of entrepreneurship in your case. A lot of cases it's college, things like that. And then from what I've heard described in a really good way, the simplicity of knocking and just having a regimented schedule. Like some people just think that that's peace. Did you find
Mhm.
it like that, or how did you see it when it just became I'm responsible for like these three things every day, and that's my focus. If I do these, everything else falls into place. Like, how'd that affect you getting into that environment?
No, that was exactly how it was. It was like sticking to a regimen of, hey, I'm gonna wake up, go to the gym, eat a good breakfast. We have our morning meetings in the house, so everyone's getting each other hype. You're doing objection handling, body language, tonality, just perfecting everything that's gonna make you better on the doors, and then going out and just closing as many deals as possible. So having that to be your sole focus and only focusing on those like three, four things is very crucial when you're starting out with door to door, because like I said before, you just want to prove yourself and you want to provide any value you can into the company. And that's closing sales and bringing in revenue when you're a sales rep and
Mhm.
profit for your own pocket.
Right. Okay, so tell me a little bit about trainer, the trainer side. So for those that don't know, describe what trainer is and how your perspective changed as you became a trainer. Now you're leading people, not just yourself.
To keep it very simple, a trainer's role is just to replicate what you did into 12 plus other guys. You have to learn how to deliver constructive criticism in a way where it's uplifting and not demeaning. And having guys that are hungry for that is going to be way easier, but you got to turn CB players into A players. You might have some guys come in that are already A players and they have past experience, they might have entrepreneurship experience, whether it's coming from and their own business or with another company, or they're coming from being an athlete in college or a blue collar job. The main goal is to make them the best in sales so they can close any type of deal, whether it's on the doors, over the phone, any type of industry, any type of niche, and just perfect that skill into them. And then on the culture side, you have to lead by example. So with especially within our company, like I said before, spiritually, mentally, physically. So that's getting in the gym, eating properly, keeping everyone accountable with like no booze in the house, no alcohol, just everyone making themselves the best version of themselves. And you have to lead by example when you're doing that as a trainer. You can't just fall back and be like, okay, I'm still a rep. I don't have to hold myself accountable to what I'm saying. Now I have to actually do it every single day because you're going to have 12 plus other guys looking right up at you because you're the direct point of contact within leadership.
Yeah, you literally live together for the most
Yeah.
part. Yeah, I think there's two big takeaways there. One, lead by example, and then turning B and C players into A players.
Right.
Those two points are huge. I mean, I think, if you think about the leadership challenge of having to use like it's a different skill set. So I'm in martial arts, and something that I learned from one of the instructors that I guess I didn't understand it to that extent, is how much more difficult it is to be an instructor than just a good student. And the idea of training versus being a good rep, like a good rep, has to learn a different skill set in order to train someone else and be patient with someone else and teach them the best practices, and then also hold that line, have that standard the whole time. I think people that are in sports obviously have a huge respect for that, but I can see how that builds the deep foundation of the roots of eventually being a manager, because now you're teaching trainers how to do that, right? Like you're
Exactly.
teaching them like, hey, now it's their role, their expectation to be the lead of the house, because you're now 2 degrees removed from even the reps. Um,
Yep.
I love that. Cool. So let's talk about manager. I know manager is the most fresh position,
Hmm.
but being a year and 3 months, like that is not long. A
No.
year and 3 months in the company, how do you feel going into management? Like what kind of new levels and new devils are you running into now in terms of maybe leadership? Or how has your perspective changed as a 23-year-old managing however many people now, upwards of in the future, like 100 people? Like how has your mentality changed?
There's definitely more responsibility when it comes to it, but the main mindset shift going from trainer to manager is now, hey, I'm not just teaching guys on how to be really good at sales. I now have to teach guys on how to coach new reps in sales. And then the rest falls into place going into the culture stuff that I was saying before. So most of that stuff comes naturally with our trainers. I mean, you're not going to be in a position to become a trainer if you're not doing that already as a rep. So it's really just teaching guys how each rep is going to be a little different and they're going to learn differently. So you have to mold whatever you're telling someone in a specific way so they can digest it themselves. So teaching new trainers how to teach sales essentially. That mindset shift was huge, changing, especially that this is more of a career than a job at this point, because the trajectory of our growth, especially since people are still in the position from starting now, going from sales rep, they can still have the opportunity to become manager, and then the trajectory from there is just insane.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
I love that. So if I'm sitting here listening and I'm thinking, man, I'm that guy, I can't wait to get into leadership, haven't started yet, but like have those kind of energies, what would you say to them, knowing what you know now? Obviously, come join, but like, what would you say to them as far as wisdom of pouring down to get to where you're at faster, same time period, whatever it is?
Biggest thing that a lot of people get lost on is they're really just focusing on the destination and not appreciating the journey and learning within the journey. And their main focal point is just, hey, I need to get to this position or this part of my life or whatever it may be. So really focus on the day to day and not 6 months down the line. Like, yeah, that's your goal, but really break down, digest every day, every week, every month to get you to that position. And then everything will just fall into place.
Love it. Love it, dude. And what I love the most about this company in general, but that's a great example, is the passed down wisdom you can get from, let's say you're 18 years old. Let's say you didn't even go to college, straight out of high school. And we've met, I mean, I think Holden's a good example. I don't know how old he was or how long he's been at the company exactly. He was the regional that he spoke about, but Adam was talking to him and he said that he was 21. It's just funny to hear the passed down wisdom. Like, so if someone's 18, fresh out of high school, and let's say they join your team, right? Their trainers probably, could be anywhere from 19 to in their 20s, whatever age, but the trainer's getting wisdom from you, and you even pass down wisdom directly to that 18-year-old. So you could be 19 and 20 in this company with 2 years of miles deep wisdom that you're learning from dudes that have already crossed the path in front of you. Like, you're going to be so far ahead of the peer groups if the people are patient and willing to listen. You're not going to get that anywhere else, or at least I'm sure there's other places, but you can for sure get it here.
Yeah.
Is what matters.
Yeah, we just steal each other's 10,000 hours, implement it into the next person, and then they're just that much better.
Yeah, as long as they're coachable. Any last thoughts? Anything else you would say to someone who's, they're exploring this, trying to get more information on the fence?
Don't be scared to take risk on yourself. I mean, scared money don't make money at all. So if you are in a position to start, waiting is going to be the biggest killer of all skills. Time is the biggest construct in what makes a good entrepreneur, a great entrepreneur, or business owner, or leader in a separate company. So don't waste any time.
Rock solid. Dude, you're a stud. Appreciate you coming on and talking to these dudes that are going to listen to this. And I just appreciate the fact that you're able to translate that wisdom down at only 23.
Thank
It's
you.
up and to the right from here, brother Rod. Appreciate you.